Hello everyone, I'm back with another video for you today, and I'm back with some Gwent. Now, there was a patch, there were quite a lot of bugs, I did manage to miss all of those, fortunately, and I'm back with something not particularly fresh, but I figured I'd start in a safe place with a bit of Syndicate, see if they're still any good. Madame Louisa got nerfed, and now she has an order effect, and Hidden Cache as a leader also is a lot weaker now. So I've decided to go with Jackpot as my leader of choice instead of that Hidden Cache, cutting a lot of the cards that you were seeing last patch in terms of Passiflora Peaches. Passiflora is still quite a good card, but I'm not particularly in the market for running it into bomb heavers and stuff, so I've decided to play a more kind of engine-focused version, those engines being, actual gold cards, power plays like Bintsy and Imk and Dire-Mutated Hound, etc. Soul as well, still very, very good, with that Jackpot allowing you to get the Horde 9 going kind of immediately in that round that you want to win. And that's typically going to be your kind of win condition, the Soul, the Bintsy maybe, although Bintsy's pretty good earlier on with Tiger's Eye as well. And yeah, kind of just cutting that vulnerable-ish Passiflora for a lot of gold, gold power really. And Syndicate's still pretty damn strong because you have so much control, removal. Mutated Hounds, I should say, got kind of nerfed. They are now 1 provision more, but 1 point more as well. So, those are kind of interesting to play around with. But you still have all the poisons that you, had before. You have some of the damage with Uold, the Seas with Philippa. So, really, this deck is still very, very good. And Syndicate as a faction is still very, very good. Louisa Savolo combo still works, just can be interrupted occasionally, which will lose you some points. But yeah, very, very powerful deck. Eternal Fire Disciple's just another cheapo spender 4 provision card that I threw in, so don't worry too much about that one. But alright, let's jump into some games and see how the deck plays. Okay, looks like we'll be against Skellige. See how that goes. We probably have a good time if we push them quite a bit in round 2, kind of split up their stuff. Let's get rid of Redanian, as you often do, and then we have a couple of spenders. We don't really need 2 of them, I don't think, for round 1, so I'll take a mulligan on 1, I think, here. I forgot to mention that you can get rid of something like Morale if you want, and swap it out for Tin Boy. That can help against more, swarmy decks, like elves or whatever you're up against. So there's an option there, and of course Passiflora and all that good stuff can also be thrown in the deck if you feel like it. Let's just get a poison out straight away on this longship, and we'll see where we want to go from here. Winning the round would be very nice. We don't really want to play into great swords and all kinds of shenanigans later. Okay. So, without the Hidden Cache, you do kind of lack coin gain a little bit, which is going to make this warship very annoying. And we might have to kind of think of a way to deal with that that's not just poison, since the Grimace is on the board. Potentially, Urchins and Kalkstein can get us coins for Philippa. That might be an option. I'll go ahead and play the Urchins. We will want to get those out this round at some point. And we can maybe go with poisons onto Grimace, or, maybe when he passes we can use those. Crow Mother is also another unit that we can think about stealing with Philippa potentially. Let's get this Kalkstein down then and open up our Philippa options. Provided we actually do want to push, it might even be better to just pass and have some coin carryover, etc. Might not be too bad. So definitely taking the longship will give us kind of the most push potential here. Taking the Crow Mother will give us the most kind of survivability against stuff. We even have the option to Uold and kill the longship, which I also don't mind. I think that's an okay play. We're going to struggle a little bit to get coins, but maybe we can use Trafficker on our own unit. Steal the Crow Mother. I can see that being a line here. I think I'm going to try to take it. It feels a bit slow and a bit clumsy, but yeah, what can you do? It's definitely hard to push into the Skellige boys sometimes. We'll see though, we're not too far behind in points just yet. And that is a pretty low tempo play, so I think we'll go with the self-poison now, just to set up that possible Philippa. And we're kind of running out of viable plays. We can play the Hounds for bleeding, but at this point it'll be difficult to do much if he does go and boost the Crow Mother with the tactical advantage. We might see that come down here. And if we only end up with 2 carryover having not got the boat out, then that's not going to be particularly great news for us. Alright, a greatsword does come down. Now that's a pretty interesting target to Philippa, but I'm not too sure we're actually going to be able to make the points here if we go ahead and play Philippa. So I think I might just take the mutated Hound play. The question is, can we afford to do that? Philippa will be an 11-point play, so I think not quite enough. That is kind of annoying, because this is a 6 and this is an 11, right? Yeah. I suppose it's a little bit more. If we take the greatsword, then everything will work out. So we actually can play this next play here, as long as we bleed something on the front row. Quite a cheeky win by 1 point if he does, you know, pass here. And if not, then we're just shortening the future rounds a little bit, which can only be a good thing for us, really. Alright, at this point we're probably just going to take a pass, I think. We can't really afford to commit much more here. Too much power in the hand, not enough points. Just going to end up trading down, or not even being able to win the round. So we'll just see what we can do in the future rounds with Bincy, with the Soul. You know, hopefully, yeah, fist attacks are good in, you know, to get our coin count up. Then again, we should probably mulligan it here so we get a playable bronze, if in case he dry passes, which he probably will do. So I don't really have any carryover, but our hand is pretty good, pretty powerful. We have our Louisa Savolla as well, which we can kind of protect with Jackpot. That's kind of one of the reasons the leader could be quite good. Can boost a little bit. Get a coin or 2. We'll probably go for that. Maybe even as an opening-ish play. Maybe not. Problem is with Bincy, you don't particularly want to do that. This hand is very good though, so I think I'm going to keep it. We have basically everything we need. The morale can be a little bit awkward if he has removal, but you know, he might not choose to remove. And we've got other things that can get us the value here, as it were. We'll see. If we want to go for that Louisa protection play, I guess it will probably be better not to. But who knows, we'll see. The Azar here can be very strong potentially if he doesn't have the Savage Bear. So maybe the best play is just to go Azar into Bincy and then, you know, go from there. All of our important units can go on the range throw, which is pretty useful in this particular situation. Let's defend up now. Now, saving Defender can be really valuable here to kind of play around a Morkvarg or something, but I think we're going to have to take our chances against that. Just try to protect our engines here. We have quite a lot of them, so what I want to do is play the Bincy without boosting her at all, just as a 4-point card, and then play the Louisa. But you know, if we also you know, if this stays around one way or another, these Scarabs, then we don't have to worry too much. There is going to be a Delirium, so this could or could not deal with it. We'll see how that turns out. Looks like it doesn't. That's pretty good news. Means we can go for the Louisa, for example, here. Or the Bincy. Kind of either of those are good. I think we'll go with Bincy now, I suppose. Doesn't really make too much of a difference. Louise is also nice to, you know, keep protected. We have a lot of engines here, so they're going to take a little bit of time to all get rolling. We of course do have to kind of play our Bincy before, you know, before our Soul, and we have to play our, you know, our Sea Jackal before our Imke, etc. So there can be a little bit of awkwardness going on, especially with Bincy. And I have played lists in the past that cut her from Jackpot, but not going to be the case here. I don't think that's quite the correct idea. We have Savola ready whenever he's needed, so that's pretty nice news as well. So we'll just go immediately and throw down this Bincy and then follow up with a Soul. Get quite a lot of value there. We can also buff our Scarab up, keep that alive potentially from one point of removal, which we might see. Looks like it's just going to be Hammond. That means he doesn't have a very efficient answer to MK now, which is good. And we can put Soul behind the Scarab, I guess, for now, in case he wants to use Decoction on it. Also good to play in 2 different rows in case of greatswords. We'll see, there's still a bit of removal in his deck. You've got that Decoction, you've got 4 damage removals, and Morkvarg can come down at the end and slam one of my bigger units, so it's going to be a bit of a shame that MK will probably be dealt with here. But you know, that is how it goes sometimes. So we have to kind of make a decision on whether we want to actually fill up at a longship here. Might be worth it. Obviously if he has a greatsword, then we're going to be in a bit of trouble. Won't be able to answer that too effectively. I guess that's going to be his target leader actually. In which case we should probably just try to split our 2 rows up and probably take one of the longships here. Try to take away some of the points from that and gain some ourselves, and then we can go with the MK on back row next. Get that coin generation going. And then probably Savola after that, assuming MK dies, which she most likely will, I suppose. She's coming down quite late though, because we didn't use any of these engines earlier in the game. No Bincy turn 1 or MK or, you know, whatever. He's actually going to go Decoction now, which I think is very good for us. It does mean that MK can go on the board. Now unfortunately with my placement here, the Soul won't receive kind of the nice MK buffs. That might have been a little bit of, you know, a little bit of a thing to think about, but Soul at this point I think has done his job for the most part, kind of took a lot of damage. And yeah, we've got the MK on board, which is very, very nice, very valuable. See if we can get the morale to stick, because that would be really, really good news. But for now I think it's just going to be a Sea Jackal. We're going to play everything on front row now. Boosting to 6 should keep him from, you know, damage, from harm's way. And okay, we have a Defender, so Defender plus the Greatsword is going to be quite a pain to deal with actually. We'll just have to go morale on that. Not going to be a better target really. And I suppose we can kind of just chill now. We'll see if it's enough. Definitely a lot of points on this Bincy to be stolen with the Greatsword. But we'll see if that's good enough. He might be afraid of resurrecting it now and getting the extra points with Wild Boar or Morkvarg, whatever. But yeah, this is kind of the downside of that early Philippa play. It means we're a bit vulnerable to this line, but I think it's probably the way to go, since most of the time the opponent will play that Greatsword at the end anyway, and morale won't be able to kill it. So what will this be? Dagger, potentially? He probably would have played on front row if it was going to be. Just a Greatsword, okay. And we'll see. I guess last card Wild Boar, so no Morkvarg. That's pretty good news for us, honestly. Now, unfortunately, we don't really have a way to... Yeah, we could try to kill that Greatsword maybe in another universe, but not going to be this one. Here we'll just play our Savola and kind of get as many points as possible. But it's good to see him not having Morkvarg. That means we get a pretty good amount of value from the Bincy, from the Sea Jackal. And I don't imagine he'll have enough here with even another Greatsword and a Wild Boar. I think our long round potential is a little bit stronger here. With a Morkvarg it might be a different story, but... Oh, he actually does have a Morkvarg, that's interesting. Bizarre that he didn't play them both on the same row, I don't quite understand that play. But it is what it is, I guess we'll take it. Yeah, it would have actually probably been a win for him if he didn't do that, so... Is what it is. Not sure what the thinking there was. I guess maybe it wasn't quite enough because, yeah, he should have just played on back row to begin with, right? Alright, well, that's an interesting win to take, but we'll take it nonetheless. Let's jump into another one and see how it goes. Okay, we're going to be playing at some Congregate, which is a Syndicate list I've seen a lot of people playing. I do think something like Jackpot has more potential than the Congregate. I haven't really played it myself, but it seems reasonably easy to shut down if you know what to do. Let's get rid of Urchins, kind of 2 of them. I mean, it's not too bad because they do get our coins up, get that carryover going, but I think we can mulligan 1. And yeah, this hand is very, very gold, which might make it difficult to play stuff. We'll probably play MK round 1. She'll probably die though. We can get rid of a hound, I suppose. Since we don't have any other poison at the moment, probably not going to draw into it. But maybe that's wrong and we should go for the Kalkstein mulligan or something. Ah well, we'll see what happens. MK definitely going to be nice if she sticks around. I don't think it's too likely, but can be a very good way to get your coins up in round 1. Sometimes. And since he didn't start with any coin generation, I think we will go with her just because bloody good fun doesn't kill her. So it's probably going to be somewhat difficult for him to deal with her straight away. Get some coin value, get some carryover value. The Uald is going to be very nice. We need him to kind of deal with the Horsun Jr. that the opponent can have, because that can be a bit of a pain. And we'll see where to go from here. Game before was a bit of a weird one. Probably should have lost that. And yeah, end up somehow getting a win, but it's what it is. Gonna happen sometimes. But hopefully this game will be a bit more decisive. That's the aim. Okay, gonna be an early matter. That's pretty good news. Means MK is sticking on the board for the time being. So let's go with Street Urchins, get some money. I mean, we could Uald and deal with the Hound here. But as I said, Uald is going to be very useful later. A bit cautious of using him here. We don't really have a good way to shut down his defender as well if you use Uald, so I think we can't really afford to. It's a shame we don't have poison, because normally that's how you would be dealing with this Hound. Just poison it out of the game. In theory we could roll Decree for morale to kill it, but I think that's a little bit ambitious of a play. It might be actually worth throwing down a Bintsy here just to get another 2 point per turn engine, if he really shows no signs of killing MK. We'll see though, we can also just take kind of an early pass maybe. Not too early because he did play Matter, so we've got to be careful of that. If we pass now at kind of after playing 3 cards, then we're going to lose on even, so need to go down to 7, which will mean playing 4 in this case.
That hurts. Good. I was starting.
Alright, the portal is going to come down. Fine seeing that, I think. Let's go ahead and play the Bintsy then. I'm not a huge fan of saving this for later anyway, because it has some serious anti-synergy with your leader and the Soul. I mean, it has synergy with your leader, of course, but it also means you can't buff a unit with your leader, which can be very useful to do. So I think we'll just play Bintsy for value here, see what we can get from him. Obviously, not the best trade ever, since she's a gold card and you can probably play bronzes now, but at the same time it'll allow me to push around a bit more, get a bit more MK value maybe.
Belly or throat? Got a preference?
Okay. Yeah, so I guess we're not looking too hot in the round anymore. Don't have too many points. I could play a Soul to get some points, but I don't think that's ever really going to be worth it. I think the play has got to be just Sea Jackal. Kind of hoping he passes. If he doesn't, it's not the end of the world though. Still going to be able to, you know, play 2 or 3 cards and then get out of here. And at least in that case we'll have the round win. But yeah, probably better for him to pass here than to play on. We'll see though. We have Bintsy for a little bit of extra, you know, push here. As long as we don't use Uold, I think we're in a pretty good spot.
Yes, you! Have you made your offering?
Alright, so we'll take the pass now. Could have also played a Kalkstein maybe instead of Sea Jackal. That might actually be a more valuable card, funnily enough, for later on. But okay, we've got a very good hand for the moment. And we managed to thin out the Redanian, which is really nice. Poisons now are not, you know, super good, but they're also not terrible. They can get some carryover from the Trafficker. Let's get rid of Hound, and that's a good hand. We got the pretty much the full gold hand with a couple of cards we can play here if we need to. You know, maybe a Kalkstein and then Trafficker to get the full carryover. Assuming he passes early. And we have the potential to draw into that Hound or Louisa for the kind of perfect hand round 3. And I think our long round is probably better than Congregates actually. As long as we deal with the cutthroat guys, you know, the cut-up lackeys or whatever they're called. The clowns. The clowns that do a lot of damage. Kind of got to just answer those and then we should be in good shape. But yeah, we'll see. It can be difficult for this deck to develop carryover as well, which is quite good for us, I think. He's going to play the Thug, which not damaging anything is kind of suboptimal, for sure. Okay, but he looks like he is going to push, which can be a bit of a pain here. No doubt about it. So potentially we just go for a morale on this, honestly. It's just an Intimidate unit that's going to get bigger, right? I don't think I mind too much using morale.
Where's the challenge?
You know, we can maybe get a bit more value on a Savala or something, but I think here it's pretty okay. And this might dissuade him from pushing a little bit. Ideally we want to, you know, get out of here sooner rather than later, because a lot of our cards are long round value, can benefit from surviving, from getting to round 3. I think I'll play Kalkstein next because he's kind of not super valuable. He does get me carryover, and then I can go with Trafficker if the opponent passes for that full 9 coins. We'll see. If he pushes, it's quite dangerous because then we can take a card off him potentially. I have more points and I have more coins. So he's not really in a position to push here without losing a card. Most likely. Plus we have, you know, plenty of coins for the Uold to kill his clowns, so that's pretty good for us. Gonna actually go with the Skewer Tooth Immune. It's quite interesting, but okay. I think I'll just take the Trafficker on my own unit then, because it's going to get me up to a pretty nice amount of coins, which will then enable my Soul. My boat will come out. Looks pretty good. He might miss a bit of value, of course, if he goes with clowns now, and then we have to kill them with Uold. But that's okay. Just going to prepare the lovely Soul. And he can come down as a 10-point play, which is really powerful actually, still. Obviously he was very, very barbaric with the last patch and Hidden Cache making him kind of nuts. But he's still pretty damn strong. Pretty damn strong. If you can activate him. Which this deck does pretty reliably with the Jackpot. Big think. So for the opponent it's a bit awkward because the hand is not too big at this point. A little bit tricky to get too much value from all the Intimidate cards. All the crimes. But they do have to kind of play something here or they're going to be in trouble. Alright, just going to throw away a card I guess. So at this point we're kind of just trading bad stuff for bad stuff if we can. It might be worth just playing a Sea Jackal now, honestly, even though we miss out on soul value. I think we're far enough ahead on points and coins to not need the full soul value if we do end up playing it here. Ideally, we actually do want to save it for round 3 anyway. Let's see here. Looks like the opponent's just bleeding himself more than anything. He's getting quite a lot of skewer tooth points though, so we've got to keep that in mind, not be too disrespectful of his point potential here. Our defender can be quite nice, protect the Madame. Otherwise it's a bit vulnerable to some of the damage that he'll have, I imagine. Gotta be a bit careful.
I will not let this become a second son.
Alright, so just an assault. Not too scary. I think at this point we do actually want to get our soul down because it's getting a bit late into the round. The later we get him down, obviously the weaker he'll be, and this does get us ahead still by 1 point, so it's a pretty good time to play him, I think. Maybe not the perfect time, but pretty good. And still a pretty sizable coin bank for him. Alright, I guess my placement was kind of bad there against that card, but what can you do, eh? What can you do? So I'm thinking it's probably defender time now. We can, you know, proc the Sea Jackal a couple of times as well. Defend it. And that's going to enable my next play, which will probably be a roll decree. Ideally, if I can keep this card, then we should be winning. Yeah, if I lose it, then, you know, things can get a bit hairy, although he's used a bit of his leader value as well as some of his good cards this round, so probably won't be the end of the world. I'm pretty sure Louisa will die if it's not defended, because he can gain some coins and then bloody good fun it next round. But, you know, that's not the end of the world if it does happen, provided we have something left, and we do with the Jackpot. Jackpot plus Savola is still, you know, very, very decent. Alright, so he's still trading some, you know, quite weak cards here, but I think playing the Louise is fine. We are going to have to get this combo down at some point, most likely. And we can maybe even steal his Savola with our Philippa in the next round, if he has it. So I'm not going to worry too much. I'm not going to lose too much sleep about keeping the Louisa. As I said, I really do want to deal with the clowns with Ewald. I think that's very important. And maybe defender. If we can't do that, then that's when things get a bit scary. But otherwise, we should be great. In great shape here. But yeah, I'm looking forward to playing some more games, finding some more decks, doing some more fun things in Gwent. Maybe even some streams. I've been a bit busy with some various social stuff at the moment, but and moving house and things like that, but yeah. Alright, let's go ahead and play Savola now then. I'm gonna try to hold on to this Ewald. May as well take this value while it's here, I think. And at this point he probably has to pass. We have more carryover, we have a better leader, and we have one extra card, so most likely we're in a winning position now. We really ought to think that that will be the result. We'll see though, we don't have the best draws in the world, and he still has some powerful golds left, like the Horson and Defender. Louisa Savola as well, maybe. We'll see though. This hand's probably fine. I think I'll just keep it. We have 2 spenders and we have a dog for the initial play. And we have poisons as well, which is pretty reasonable, isn't it? Isn't going to get much better than that at this point. Okay, here's the Horson, presumably. And then we can maybe Philippa to steal away the Louisa and prevent his Savola play. That is the hope. The Ewald here we're going to use just to kind of kill these lackeys, I think. And yeah, that's going to be a win. Not really any way for the opponent to make that one work. But yeah, this deck's pretty good. I don't know if it's the best Syndicate deck. I think it probably is better than Congregation, honestly. But Syndicate's still pretty strong, so you know, if you do find yourself wanting to play Jackpot, then maybe give this list a go, or a Pacifier list. looks to be pretty good. But yeah, good to be back. Had a little bit of a break, but I'm back again. And yeah, thanks a lot for watching, guys. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you very soon in the next video. Bye.